At this point, are you on any sort of like house arrest or
No.
what's going on? Are you still practicing?
So after that, yeah, I'm still practicing. And
you're doing surgeries, you're doing all that stuff while
I practiced the whole time, because this is the interesting thing, right? Your medical license is a state medical license. The federal government has no jurisdiction over me as a physician. Okay. Now they can tell me that the DEA can give me what's called my DEA license. Okay. So Drug Enforcement Agency. You have a DEA license to be able to prescribe narcotic medications, okay, and the like, and controlled substances. But the federal government doesn't have licensing ability, so they can't pull my license. All right. Now, if I'd have been indicted or if I'd have been convicted and I have a record, then the state of Utah would have pulled my license. But no, the state of Utah never came after me, and the Utah Department of Health and the Utah Medical Board never came after me over this.
And none of your patients were hesitant to come to you thinking that, you know what, this guy's going through federal court and we don't know what's going to happen with him. What if I need a follow-up surgery, or I'm in the middle of surgery, right, and I'm going through the whole rehabilitation, and all of a sudden I got to see the doctor, but all of a sudden, you know what, he's in jail. What do I do? What was going on there?
Most of the patients that came to me actually came to me because of what was happening. Okay. So my new patients that were coming to me came to me because of what was happening. So they're like, I just need to support this guy. I really, really enjoy, really like what he stood for, and anybody who's going to stand up and kind of take that kind of stance, I want him as my doctor. Okay.
Nice.
But that my overall volume went down by at least 2/3. And that's because, as a plastic surgeon, you have to market. Okay. And you got to get your name out there. You got to do some advertising, and all that stuff. Every single cent that I had of any money was going towards my attorney's fees and legal expenses and, and everything else. So I lost 2/3 of my volume. I spent $750,000 in legal fees and expenses. And I sold everything that I had except for my house. And my house was up for sale, or it was going to be up for sale had I been had I been convicted. So,
and why were you not convicted? How did you get off?
Well, before you answer that, let's do this.
So you mentioned, hold on, I do want to, because it's interesting, right? So after I spent the first 12 days in jail, I was still a flight risk. And so in order to kind of keep me from running, even though I have a very small family, okay, very small. I have one sister. My dad passed in 2019. My dad was an only child. All of his family's dead and gone. My mom, all she has is a brother, and he's passed, and all he had is one son. Okay, so I have one first cousin, no other second cousins, no other, nobody else. All right. I have 2 kids and a sister. My sister lives in Connecticut with her 3 kids, and I live in Utah with my 2 kids. That's it. So where am I going to go? Right. But they consider me a flight risk. So they put me on an ankle monitor, okay, for 2.5, 3 months until like the last weekend in February, first weekend in September, last weekend of August and first weekend of September.
Of what year?
Of 2023.
Okay.
So I got out of jail on June 7th, after my 12 days in jail that I spent for the first violation. And I was on ankle monitor for the next 2.5 months. And, I could go to the office and I could go home, and I had 2 hours a week to do shopping. So I would go to Costco from 10 to 12 on Sundays to do my shopping for the week. And that was it. And then I got that taken off, and I was free and clear until November of 24, when I got busted for the, texting.
Could you imagine you walking into Dr. Cook's office and you're doing a consultation? He sits down in front of you, crosses his legs, and there's an ankle monitor on him. So what are we doing today, sweetheart?
It's a fitness monitor. I'm monitoring my heart rate and blood pressure.
Heart rate and blood oxygen.
I was not embarrassed about telling people what it was.
Oh no, of course not. You can't be. At that point, you were saving people's lives. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. So before you answer Arman's question, this kind of ties in together. How many felonies were you accused of?
So the first time I was accused of 3 felonies. And then in January of 25, they added another charge. So I was accused of fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, counterfeiting, and then in January of 25, they added a charge of destruction of government property and evidence tampering. That's what added an additional 20 years to my sentence. That additional charge in January of 25. And that was when I told you Carrie turned us in, said I'd communicated with them and that I had told her. So in addition to texting, which is what they, said that I did, and I don't deny it, I did. But in addition to that, she also said that I told her to destroy all of the vaccines that we had in the office. And so she told the government that. So the government said, well, we could have used those as evidence. And now, we're going to add a charge of, destruction of government property or evidence tampering.
If you enjoyed this short clip, go ahead and click here to watch the full episode. And make sure to click here to subscribe to our channel to watch all other episodes of the WiseNuts podcast.